Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Round Robin. I'm your host, Tracy Preston, along with Christine Mulligan, Nina Mulligan, and Regina Lindsay. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
Yo.
Hello.
Yo. I'm in Boston.
You in Boston?
I'm talking like them. It's the
No, ma'am, you're not.
I'm going to park the car in the harbor.
Yeah, please stop.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm just falling in love with Boston. What do you want me to say?
Yeah, but that's what you do, right? You talked about that before. Wherever you go, you got to do the right thing, and you got to blend in.
Exactly.
She's not blending. Have you ever seen My Cousin Vinny? I just have this mental picture of Marissa Tomei, right now.
Right.
That's one of my most favorite movie parts of all time.
I love her.
I wanted to be her so bad. My biological clock is ticking.
And at the rate this case is going, I ain't never getting married.
What was it? Dead Top Senna. Remember she was in, she was testifying.
12 degrees before hot dead Senna.
That's it. Yeah, she's the best.
I like the whole deer thing. I think we did that once when we were talking about the deer hunting. It just cracks me up every time.
What?
When he was talking about going deer hunting. When he was talking about going deer hunting, and he was like, "You think these pants are okay?" And she's like, "Imagine you're a deer. You're walking along, and you get thirsty, and you spot a little stream, and you put your little deer lips down to the cool, clear water, and bam! Some motherfucker shoots you in the head. Now I ask you, would you give a shit what kind of pants the son of a bitch who shot you was wearing?"
Nope. You're dead. You know what? Now I'm going to have to watch that movie again. It's been a minute.
All right, so back to round robining.
Back to round.
For us to talk about, or are we talking about My Cousin Vinny? What's happening here? I thought we were Michigan topics.
Well, no,
My Cousin Vinny was from New York.
On round robin, we can talk about anything.
All right.
So it's all right. It's all
I
right.
was in Brooklyn, and there were about 5 chicks that sounded just like Christine working in the office there. And Tracy called me, and I had to get up and shut the door because I couldn't hear myself think.
Where are you? Up in New York?
Well, this was when I was in Brooklyn a couple weeks ago, and then I was trying to train in that center, but at the time I was sitting in the FA's office. And it's right next door to the front desk. And all of those chicks was on the phone, and they all are quite robust. And I'm just sitting there. Tracy's trying to talk to me. I was like, oh, my God, I have to close the door because I cannot hear myself think right now.
Yeah, it was loud. I will definitely attest to that. I'm like, what is going on? It sounded like they were on the phone with me. Well, I want to...
I'm taking appointments.
Yeah. Over here. Over there. All right. Damn it. All right. Well, listen. Angela, she couldn't make the show tonight because she's without power like a lot of people here in Michigan. These tornado storms just won't stop coming. So sending out my best to Angela and all of our Michiganders without power. It's been a real bitch this year.
Absolutely. Everybody stay safe. It's that time of year down here, too, and we're getting a lot of weather, especially up north of us. So
yeah, it's making me nervous because it's really cool. Like, I don't even think it hits 60 degrees here. So I'm just like, ugh. And it's going to be cold and rainy the next couple of days. So I have a feeling tornadoes are coming back once we get that next warm front hitting the cool front. It's not good.
It's been unseasonably cold because last week I was in Vegas and then in Arizona, me and my own personal little black cloud. I mean, I got rained on in friggin' Vegas, and then I got rained on all the way from Vegas to the Grand Canyon and all the way from the Grand Canyon to Tucson.
Mm.
So, and that just doesn't really happen where it rains that many days in a row. One of my friends in Flagstaff was telling me that, yeah, it's been a really, really rainy, stormy year. And I mean, I'm not talking about little bits of drizzle. I mean, torrential downpour.
And that's not good there. That is not good.
Because everything's so hard packed, it has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And there were streams going across the road. So yeah, it was a little iffy in a couple of places.
Yeah. Well, I think you were in Brooklyn 2 weeks ago, right? I was in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, working last week. Made some great new connections there, by the way. It was a great trip. I really love getting into centers and working with people. So a couple things happened. So one, I'm working in my hotel room, and I had Ancient Aliens on. Do you guys ever watch that show?
That is my favorite show of all time.
I freaking love that.
I may have watched an episode or two. Yeah.
Oh man, you got to tune in. It is
Talking
just
about
addicting.
Atlantis and the pyramids and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I got my "we are the apocalypse people" theory. We are the dumb ones. The smart ones came before us. We just had to start over again.
Yeah. We're so down the line from a good alien visit. I feel neglected.
I keep asking them to come every night in my head. I said, please, aliens.
You sound amazing.
I know, but that's why you love me, because I have all these crazy things.
Oh, God, that's not right. Go on.
I'm just saying.
I love you
Would
for
it be
that.
so bad?
I love
Would
you
it be
for
so
that.
bad?
As long as you're not getting experimented on. See, I think it's.
Oh, yeah, leave it alone. Leave it alone.
She's like, no, that would be totally fine.
Steve does do a lot of research. I'm just saying.
If I have superior DNA that they need to cultivate, who am I to stop them? They're picking the best specimens, right? They're not picking hobos. Look at them.
Well, see, I think their visits come in phases, right? Because way back in, the Egyptian times and all that, like I totally believe they were showing them like technology, like how to make these pyramids, like, whatever energy they use for all that. I don't know, I guess like in the 80s and stuff, then they started taking people and experimenting on people and putting things in their body. So I wonder what wave is next.
Okay, can I just tell you, I knew somebody was shaking her head all real into the conversation. She's like, yeah.
And why do I only have a mental picture? Like, have y'all seen a Cheez-It commercial where they're talking about aging the cheese or whatever? And the guy goes and like takes the cheese and it makes some like smart ass teenage comment. And he's like, nope, not ready yet. I feel like that's what the aliens would do now. They come in, they abduct somebody, and they're like, nope, not aged enough. Send that shit back.
Not yet. That's a good one.
Right? Like, no, they're not quite done yet. Put those biscuits back in the oven.
Exactly. The show that I saw on Ancient Aliens was, of course, talking about the tombs in Egypt. And they showed some pretty mind-boggling sarcophagi. Which is it?
Sarcophagus?
But
Sarcophagus is one, sarcophagi
is many, right?
Yeah.
is many.
Like a gaggle. Okay.
Sarcophaguses.
No, like cactus and cacti.
I like sarcophagus.
Is that like Snuffleupagus? Wasn't he a character on Sesame Street?
Yeah, he was the coolest. Real slow. So anyway, like they had like this one tomb had like these gigantic sarcophagi. So big that you could put like a cow in it, and I think there were a lot of cow drawings. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Space cows. And one of them was for real, I'm not joking.
And this is the show that you're recommending for me to watch. Okay. Well, if you've ever been to Disney, You may have visited Cosmic Rays, and perhaps that's where they get their beef patties from. The space house.
And space milk.
Out of this world.
Oh, man, this is going to be difficult to get through this tonight.
Sarcophaguses with cows.
That's like,
Cows, sarcophaguses.
I
Yep.
love it.
Okay.
More new terms.
There's already a word for that. You don't need to make up a new one.
Oh, I love it. Sarcophaguses.
We're gonna need a tier 90 miracle to get us out of this tailspin.
Yes, we do. Oh, I need one. I'll take it. Oh my God. Okay, so anyway, let me get serious again. So they're talking about all these tombs and stuff, and then they start talking about the tomb of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, or Hang. I really should have some.
Oh
I,
my God, I just got dizzy because I laughed so hard at that one.
you better go get your carotids checked.
You tried so hard with that name.
I was all serious for a minute, and then that was enough of that. It did not work.
Oh my God.
You better get your carotids checked. Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang.
Like, why you gotta
It sounds like kimchi.
Hang.
Right.
Oh,
Him.
okay.
Okay.
So
So
what about Mr. Wang?
okay. So Mr. Wang, he died on September 10th, 210 BC. And here's what's really interesting about this guy is after conquering 6 warring states to create the first unified nation of China, right? He died after all that. So he's pretty spectacular guy. His tomb, he has a tomb.
And you,
Yeah, we love those conquering emperors.
yeah, he's impressive, okay?
Well,
Dictatorship. Woo!
He's a pretty spectacular guy. Okay. Keep on going.
he's a thug. He's hanging out in Boston with Nina. Okay, so Qin Shi Huang was a thug. He has a tomb, and it's buried under like this ginormous hill in central China. And here's one crazy item of note. His tomb is said to be surrounded by a poisonous moat of mercury. And the ceiling of his tomb is also said to look like the night sky. So they had some really amazing imagery on it. And I thought, wow, that's very interesting. Now, the tomb, of course, has been undisturbed for more than 2 millennia. It's because it's full of mercury in there. And supposedly there's all kinds of booby traps.
You send a little Roomba down there with a camera on top of it. You know what I'm saying? If it bumps, it turns, it goes a new way. And then they could just see. If it falls into, a big vat of mercury, then we know.
Yeah, but the problem
Problem
is,
solved.
problem solved.
Archaeology.
You know what? We need to send you to China. You and your
All
Roomba.
right, so
I just have this mental picture simultaneously of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I know, me too.
The fact that the first Roomba I had, when it would run and slam into things, kind of was like a drunk teenager trying to get to their room on Saturday night without turning any of the lights on. It just bangs into shit all over the place, and 45 minutes later, it's made it to the stairs.
It finally gets in there. But the thing is like, how do you even, people are so afraid of, how would you even make an entrance for your Roomba? Because that is supposedly full of mercury down there. Like, it's a moat, and it flows, apparently, which is very interesting. So it was in 1974 when farmers came across fragments of human figures made of clay, which we know now are the Terracotta Army. That's where they're at. They're protecting this tomb. So,
Okay, but I just thought of something. Since we're in Boston and I did take Nina on the duck tours, we can make a little robotic duck boat.
oh, there you
It
go.
can drive through all the soldiers and turn into a boat when it has to go over the Mercury.
Get ready. What kind of suit would you wear?
Okay, but here's the thing. I mean, I'm not a scientist, and I don't know alchemy. And I do know that mercury, it has a different viscosity weight, right? So sometimes it floats and sometimes it sinks, depending on like what it's in. But wouldn't that seep through the ground eventually and just dissipate? Like, how is it staying there for thousands? We're talking 210 BC.
Yeah.
Bajillions of years ago, and this thing is still existing. Wouldn't it have just seeped through the ground at this point?
Wouldn't it have hardened and turned to dust?
I don't know. Someone should Google that.
I mean, because
Good point.
like, isn't what they put in thermometers so that you can get your temperature?
They used to, yeah.
Yeah.
But eventually those dry out if it touches air.
Yeah, well,
If you break it, right, you got to throw it away. It doesn't work anymore.
that might be one of the many problems with me is because when I used to break the thermometers, I used to love playing with the mercury.
You did?
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Uh,
Yeah,
I've
it
never
looks
done
like
that.
A silver water drop that you can kind of move around. It's sort of like magnetic clay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's super cold.
Mercury's in water, right? That's
Yeah, but
how
I
they get fish.
I might be wrong, but when I was a kid, I think I used to be like, whatever, I'm not gonna freaking eat it. So as long as it didn't get into anything like your eyes, ears, nose, and mouth, then I felt safe. It never did anything to my skin. I used to play with that stuff for a while after I broke it before I throw it away.
I'm appalled.
So yes, mercury will vaporize and effectively dry up. Exposed to air at room temperature, it does this by evaporating into a colorless, odorless vapor. Even small amounts of mercury can release significant amounts of vapor, posing health risks if inhaled. So maybe it's more that they're worried that there is some of it left, that it's vaporized, and that all of those gases have collected inside that enclosed space.
So get some
Mm.
HEPA
And then
filters
if
and suck that out of
If
there.
they open it, they would evacuate it. I don't know.
Yeah, so what are they so
Get-
afraid of? We figured it
Yeah, I
out.
don't know. Yeah.
Right.
Throw a match in that bitch and see what happens.
It's a barbecue. Yeah, they need to step it up. This is bullshit. Let's get in there.
Mm-hmm. All that shit that the SWAT team uses to like look around corners and whatever.
Yeah.
Some of that in there.
Yeah. They are talking about using some kind of advanced x-ray to look through the structure and see what's in there. I think we need to take a trip to China. I think we should be the ones.
Okay, donkey. Okay, but listen, I actually have a theory about the X-raying. If the mercury was in a moat, right,
Mhm.
and it was liquid at one time, and now it's been in there for 2 millennia, I'm pretty sure when it evaporated, it probably mercury lined the area that it was in. So if you X-rayed it, would it just look like a big black blob?
Yeah.
The whole room?
Maybe.
Could be. Yeah, I think they need to HEPA filter that bitch.
Yeah, just suck that out. Just get a big vacuum with some filters on it, endoscope that vacuum hose in there, and suck it out.
Yeah, and then they can get in there and loot. Get all the goodies that are in there.
Oh,
Release
so you
the
can loot the
mermaid
thug.
sun's curse and all kinds of shit. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. All right.
He's got to know ghost soldiers.
I'm scared.
I'm in Boston, okay? I'm going to get my crew.
Final destination shit going on after that. Like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Who knows? That would be a great movie. I think that's a great movie right there. Boom. The round robin team going to China, doing all this shit. And then the terracotta, they come to life and they start coming for us one by one.
Pretty sure there was a movie that already did that.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
I think maybe it was one of the Hellboy movies or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, but with the round robin crew, come on. It's going to be hysterical.
Right. I mean, it would be like Blair Witch. Hellboy, right?
Wake up with the terracotta soldier right over you. No, thank you. So now I'm leaving Jersey and I'm working my way to the Philadelphia airport. And as I'm driving, I see this ginormous billboard. Totally caught my attention. I'm like, what? Big letters. It spelled out syphilis. There's a cure.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that still a thing?
I think it's coming back. Yeah, it's on the rise,
Yes,
girl.
it is. And you know who the population is with the highest number of new cases?
Who? Politicians?
People in nursing homes.
Oh, because they're
People in
horny.
nursing homes.
Yeah, they're having a lot of sex.
And because they don't really understand the whole STI thing, you know, that we all kind of had to quote drilled into us as children, you know?
Right.
They don't think about that.
Right.
And yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
It's still a thing, and it's still a thing with young people too, because I worked at a freestanding ER a couple of years ago, and I just want to say that people in that part of town were definitely getting plenty, and nobody was using protection.
well, that's crazy. So I had to do a little bit of research on syphilis because, to be honest, every time I think about syphilis, I think about Al Capone. I don't know why. I know he was really messed up with it, right? He was like seriously neurological issues. So because I'm a nurse and most of us are nurses, and I'm just going to throw it out there. So here we go, public service announcement. It's a bacterial infection. So go and get the penicillin. It is curable.
You get a party pack. That's what we called it.
A party pack.
Penicillin G. Yeah, penicillin G, Rocephin, Zithromax, and some Valtrex just for good measure, and you're out the door.
You're out the door. So
30 minutes flat.
yeah, I mean, get it done, get checked, because here's what's scary about it. Your primary symptom is just a single chancre. Painless, no less. A single,
Wraps on the palms of your hands.
well, that's more advanced, right? So the spot will appear where the bacteria enters your body. Some people may get more than one sore, but most don't. And you start to see that like about 3 weeks after you've come in contact with the bacteria. It's painless. So don't let that fool you. Like, oh, this is just, who knows, a weird bump or whatever. No, it's not good. Go get it checked out. Some people don't even know they have primary syphilis because, let's be honest, it could be in a cavity. You don't feel it. It's not painful. So then that thing disappears, right? About 3 to 6 weeks later, you're still not treated. And then you get secondary syphilis. So what is that? It's a rash. So it's not painful. It's not itchy. It may be rough, may be hard to even see. Red, reddish brown. And that's freaking scary. And so a rash is usually on the trunk of your body, like your chest, your stomach, your pelvis, your back, even on your arms and legs. And then, like Regina just said, it can also end up on your palms and the soles of your feet. That's second.
And that's a hallmark of syphilis versus normal contact dermatitis, by the way. Most rashes don't affect the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet.
Yeah, that's like...
That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
That's kind of like if it's on your hands and your feet, go get that shit checked.
Go get it checked. Of course, the longer you wait, the worse your symptoms become. You don't want to get in that tertiary stage, right? You get brain damage, nerve damage, eye damage, heart damage, blood vessel damage, liver, bones, and joint damage. So, I don't know. I saw that sign and I just...
There's no cure at that stage, by the way.
Yeah, you're in big ass trouble.
It's curable in 1 and 2, but tertiary syphilis, there is no cure, and there's no reversing neurological effects, and it does eventually lead to severe neurological symptoms and death.
And that's where I
So
think about...
everybody knows.
And that's where I think about Al Capone. When he was in... oh, God. What is the name of that prison in San Francisco on the Rock?
Alcatraz.
Thank you. When he was in Alcatraz, he was in tertiary stage of syphilis. He was a mess. Anyway, just throwing that out there because I'm like, huh.
Nero, the emperor who supposedly fiddled while Rome burned, tertiary syphilis.
Oh, yeah?
The madness of King George, the monarch of England, tertiary syphilis.
There you go.
Yes, I know way too much about STIs. Sorry.
No, that's good. Well, listen, I mean, I saw the sign and I'm like, why, yeah, I'm driving by like anybody else, but I'm like, I think we need to look into that and talk about it. So y'all been informed. It's scary. Scary business. Get shit checked if you need to. And a lot of people, by the way, they don't find it, it's like did you know that it's like one of the primary screenings when you become pregnant? You pass that shit to your baby.
Yep.
You'll want to do that.
Yeah. And it can cause blindness and deafness in infants.
Yep.
Along with no
Yeah, but I like how Regina named all these infamous wackadoos and then followed it up. She dropped the name and then said tertiary syphilis. So I'm going to do the opposite and not drop the name and then just simply say tertiary syphilis.
You're not a name
You don't
dropper.
have to say it because, yeah.
But everybody knows what I'm talking about.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
That's right. So there. All right. Let's lighten it up by a little bit because that was kind of deep, but I had to do it. All right. So did you guys know about this experiment by neuroscientists occurred, I guess, semi-recently, where they discovered that rats laugh when they're tickled?
What?
Yep. Now, here's the thing.
What does it sound like? I need to hear a rat laugh.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you.
I need to hear the rat laugh.
Do you tickle them under their armpits? Like, where do you tickle the rat? On their tummy? On the bottom of their
Tickle a
feet?
rat. That sounds like a game I'm not quite sure I'm going to be into.
Not with the rats.
No. Like, I'm curious.
Well, they're very like social creatures, and they run in packs. So I mean that would be normal. That would be like when the monkeys pick the mites off each other.
Yeah.
Monkeys laugh.
I could see them having that with one another. Why not?
They just
After a good day of dumpster diving, who doesn't want a little tickle?
I know, could you imagine it? Could you just envision like the rats tickling one another after a long, hard day of work?
Well, maybe that's what they do when you hear rats in a little bundle and they're all. That's what they're doing. It's a big freaking tickle bush of rats.
They're highly intelligent rats. That
Rat
is,
tickle bush.
Ooh.
But did you also know that neurologically being tickled is like a precursor to pain?
Really?
So, yeah. So you'd have to be careful. If you're tickling the wrong spot, you might get dizzy.
Sounds like somebody else I know.
La 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 la.
shush. Shush.
Sure.
Lock it up. All right, I got another one for you then.
All right.
See if any of you guys can figure this one out. All right. Have you guys ever had a what?
She was trying to figure it out. She said 4.
All right.
I'm sorry. It's too much wine.
It's okay. Wine,
Too much
Nina.
Boston Ale.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Have you guys ever had a leech stuck on you before?
A what?
A leech, a bloodsucker?
Absolutely not. No.
Oh, I thought you said a wench. I was going to say yes. But a leech, no.
Yes, leech, no.
Well, I don't know. We've all dated men, so.
I was gonna. Thank you.
Oh my God, you.
Sorry, Todd. Except for Todd. We love Todd.
Wow, we do. We love Todd.
Oh my goodness. Well, I've had one stuck on me before. And,
Why?
well, what happened was, my dad used to take
What
us.
happened was.
Okay, go ahead. What happened was, what were we going to say?
Oh, okay. So what happened was my dad, he used to love to take us canoeing, right? And we used to go canoeing on the Muskegon River. And, my best friend at the time, we were just kind of chilling because the current just takes you. So, right, you're in your bathing suits, you're just kind of laying there. And I had my legs hanging over the canoe and kind of dragging along the water. and it felt like I had like a leaf stuck on me. So I went to kind of wipe it off, and it wasn't coming off. And when I looked, it was a freaking leech, right? So usually you have to burn them with something to get them off because, right, they anesthetize your skin, and then they start sucking your blood. That's what they do. They're blood suckers. Well, anyway, here's something I did. I got it off because I was in panic mode. I ripped that son of a bitch right off me. But here's what I didn't know. Leeches have segments to their bodies, kind of like earthworms. You know how they have those little segments and they feel weird in your fingers? They have 32 of these little segments. But here's what blew my freaking mind. Each segment has a brain. They have 32 freaking brains.
That's weird.
Don't you think those should be studied?
They are studied.
Yeah.
Well,
Sounds like we need to group them all together and harness that energy.
yeah.
That's a lot of brain power.
Yeah.
Or find a recipient that we can donate those to.
I'll take one.
It's like, I know a couple of people that could use a few segments of brain. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. I thought you guys were going to blow that one up. But nope.
Well, I'm just sitting here like, I am in awe that this cephalopod has 32 brains, and I know grown-ass adult humans with none.
I know. Another science experiment.
You know?
Yeah.
Have they figured out at all what would be the reason? Like, I mean, because maybe they suck with the blood, right? And that's got to get filtered. Well, if you look at brains, it's nothing but like a little filtration system. It looks like a little like thing you put in your air conditioner, you know? So maybe the brain like works differently for them.
Yeah, but the segments are connected. So technically, isn't it just saying that the brain is throughout their spinal cord, which technically so is ours. The only reason why they don't call the spinal cord brain is because it doesn't have gray matter, but it really has all the same cells. So perhaps
It can't function independently without a brainstem.
Right.
So,
You know what I'm saying? But it's all technically all one part. You know what I mean? Like it's a unit, right? So maybe in leeches, their brains, quote, brain, is really just a different segment of their spinal cord.
and each of them is specialized to some biological function, probably.
Exactly.
And, you know, back in the day, they used to stick them on people to suck the blood out of them.
They still do it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
To save fingers and
treatment. And people, you know, that have clotting disorders because they inject anticoagulant into your blood.
Yeah.
But they also clean wounds pretty effectively.
they clean
They're
wounds.
Restore circulation.
When
Yeah,
did the
They
maggots?
restore circulation. I know maggots too, but
Yeah, but leeches are still used to this day to increase circulation in humans.
Yeah, I've definitely seen shows where, you know, this guy whacked off his fingers with a chainsaw, and they sewed them back on, but they were not getting any blood. So they put the leeches on the ends of the fingertips.
Yeah, I've had a couple of patients that have had leech therapy.
You know what? Let me tell you right now, if I had to have a leech or maggots on me, I don't know how I would handle that shit. Mentally, I would break down.
I also had a patient one time that had maggots all up in their foot. And when I tell you all up in their foot, it was tunneled well into their calf muscle. I was like, what? Yeah, that was the toughest. That was the toughest wound debridement I've ever done in my life. I threw up 3 times.
It's like I said, when you're in the ER and EMS is wheeling a patient in and the paramedics are wearing masks, but the patient is not.
Yeah, that's how we
You
deal
know,
with it. They
shit
don't
is
smell
not
it at all.
Yeah, it's like they're, oh my God, here we go.
I don't know how I deal with that. I mean, as a nurse, right? Because, like, you know, you've had those patients where you're like, oh my God, this patient has lice and you got to give them the treatment. Everybody's itching just because it's in your mind.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine with the maggots, girl. Oh my God.
It is horrifying.
That's
Horrifying.
nuts. That's nuts.
It is. It's bad. And again, that usually does not come without an accompanying smell for the visual.
Yeah, it never does. Like everyone out there has probably had some maggots in their garbage can at one point in time because there was meat that dripped out of a bag or something, and maggots are all in your garbage can. You know, like your outdoor garbage can.
Right.
That smell, that is the smell of necrotic matter that the
Rotting flesh.
maggots are feeding off of and growing out of. Because technically what maggots are is you got some kind of like chopped meat or chicken bones or any kind of biological matter, right, of any kind of animal. Well, the flies go and they eat their little bits that they eat, but then they lay all their eggs there. And their eggs hatch within, I want to say it's like a 24-hour time frame.
It's
but
quick.
I could be wrong.
It's quick.
Yeah, it's quick. It's like a 24-hour deal. And then within a couple of hours after they're laid and start to hatch, the odor that they give off when they're consuming this biological matter is insane.
Are they
It
farting?
is so atrocious.
Are they farting?
No, it's the chemical exchange of the decaying matter and all of the stuff that the maggots give off.
Ooh.
It's like if you've ever smelled anything dead or necrosed, multiply that by 20 and you've got what maggots smell like.
Could you imagine working on the dead body farm? You know, where they do all that research on decomposing bodies.
Oh, the decomposing?
Stuff?
Yeah, no, not me.
Oh, it would be brutal. Brutal. I mean,
It's not the sights, it's the smell.
Right. Well, I think, the smell would get you. It's kind of like, when you're in the hospital and you get to your floor or get to the unit and someone has a GI bleed, you're like, oh, God. It's got to be worse than that.
Oh.
Somebody's on a bed, you walk in, the smell Pseudomonas. Yeah.
Yeah, nasty. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I actually, there's a story that I'm working on for Monday. I just got to polish it up. I'm not going to give away a whole bunch, but here's something that's very interesting is, to simulate a body in water. They're trying to figure out, well, how long was this body in water? Because someone's saying it's this amount of time, but they're like, really, it doesn't seem that way. So anyway, they did a test. So the closest thing to test that out is to utilize swine because its skin is very closely related to humans and all that kind of stuff. So they put this swine in water, like very same conditions and all this, and they did a time-lapse video. I'm going to send it to you guys because you have to see this. They did a time-lapse video. I think it was like a total of 22 days. But within 2 or 3 days, the flies are already there. They've already laid their eggs. Maggots are all over. So by the time 21 days happened, we're talking millions of maggots. And this body of this swine just basically erupted. And there was I've never seen so many maggots in my life. And then like everything turned to like this foamy slime. That all jives with what you're talking about, Christine, with like whatever the exchange is happening as they're eating the dead tissue.
Yeah, they just like completely decomposition it. It completely decomposes.
Degrade it completely.
I mean, It's amazing. I mean, it does mystify you and it gives you just a slight window opening into Mother Nature's got it all covered. She got to figure it out because maggots will turn meat, flesh. They will disintegrate that within a month's time, I think. And you will just be ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Yeah, insects are incredible, to be honest.
I know. It's crazy. They're the cleaners.
Yeah.
They're the cleaning crew.
That's what all the dirt is, It's just beetle poop.
Yeah.
Beetle poop.
Yeah, and all the sand in the world is fish poop.
Yep.
Okay, that's gross.
Yeah, it is gross, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, and what about skin cells? I mean, don't we slough like 500,000 skin cells in a day?
Yeah, you know what? Skin cells don't help the earth, which is another point to, we'll bring this back around to your ancient aliens. We're not from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about
And
that?
on those lines, house dust is primarily made up of skin cells.
Yeah, but it doesn't help the earth, is what I'm saying.
Truth.
No.
Layers and
It's
layers.
just- it actually gets sucked up by vacuums and then dumped in garbage heaps and stays there forever as a garbage trash heap.
That's gross.
And it's gross.
We're gross.
But essentially, there's a piece of all of us in some dump near you.
All we are is dust in the wind.
So true. So true.
We're bring the mood down.
Hey, didn't the band that sing that song, wasn't the name of that band Boston?
No, it's Kansas.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah. At least you were
So close. Like, really close.
Places.
I was hoping I had a tie-in. Nope.
I do think that the whole song must have been some sort of drug-induced epiphany, though. Like, all we are is dust in the wind, bro. Like,
Yeah,
people
because
tripping mushrooms, sitting around having a philosophical discussion.
yeah, kind of like us. Somebody said to him, "Yo, dude, our skin cells just fly off of us and turn into dust." And he was like, "Dust in the wind.
All we are is dust in
In the wind."
I love
Oh my
it.
God,
I love it.
we're all insane.
Yep. And I love that
That's
too.
not tertiary syphilis.
No, that's just
Yeah, I don't have
that's just where we live.
I was always told, when we were talking about drugs and illicit sex, and this is how you get these things because they scare you in school. They said, if you get syphilis, your brain will turn to Swiss cheese, and you'll be
Yeah, are they not teaching these young kids about all these diseases anymore? Because there's a lot of uptick in viruses and bacterial infections that really I thought we had all but eradicated, and they're all
That's true.
coming back in full force.
So my daughter used to tease me. My oldest would tell me that I should be a health teacher when I retired from nursing, because as a teenager, like she and all of her friends, our house was the one that most of them hung out at. And I happened to be home one summer day and they're watching MTV2, I think Teen Moms or some dumb shit like that. A group of girls and a couple of guys, high school age. And so it started out kind of silly because one of those commercials came on for like feminine hygiene products. And one of the boys goes, what's the jizzle? And so it got to be a whole thing, but we started talking about sex and all that. And, I just sat there, I was like, all right, guys, here's the deal. I think you're too young, and I think that sex complicates relationships in ways that you don't understand yet. But I also know that when the time comes for you to make the decision, that the likelihood that I or your parent or somebody's going to be there to guide you in that is slim to none. So here's the deal. Undress with the lights on, and you need to look. And if you can't do that, you don't have any business having sex. And guys, that's not supposed to smell fishy, okay? If it does, don't touch it. I'm just saying. And they were all just like, at the time, but, my daughter later on was like, damn, Mom, you should totally teach health. Because I'm like, I'm not trying to encourage teenagers to have sex, but I acknowledge that they make that decision for themselves, usually before their parents are ready to mentally deal with that. But you need to teach them not to let some momentary decision like turn into some life-altering thing.
Truth. And what parents are even talking about it. I mean, we're pretty open in this house. And they are teaching. We've talked about this before. They do teach, like Emily went through sex ed in fourth grade.
Mm-hmm.
So they know what the tiddly bits are.
Yeah, they teach they should teach the basics when they're young enough that they're actually listening. But they should repeat them 2 or 3 times. Like that should be a main course. It should be lifing. You know what I mean?
Phase
it should
2.
be sex ed and home finances. It should be the new home economics class.
My daughter had that, the electronic baby. Do y'all know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody's kid have that? It was called, I think the name of it is like Baby Think It Over. And it's a baby doll that's about the size of a newborn. And it has a computer chip in it. And randomly at all hours of the day and night, it just starts screaming. And your child, as the air quotes parent, as their project, you have to get up, there's a key that goes in the baby's back, and one is like for food and one is for diaper change. And you don't know which one it's crying about, but you have to put that key in, figure out which one it is, put the key in and hold it for, I don't remember how long, 5 minutes, something like that, for the baby to shut up. And it keeps track of it. And so when you turn it back in, the teacher can tell whether or not you've attended to it. But let me tell you, that thing cries at 3 a.m. just like a real baby. I think everybody should have to take one of those home.
That's a good deterrent. I like it.
I'm just saying, because it'll tell on you if you take the battery out. It's like, not everybody had to do it. I think it was like a home ec or something project.
I think all boys and girls should have to do it, along with the, let's just say you have phase 2. It's learning about all the STDs that are out there. And then phase 3, oops, here's your baby. Phase 3. So I got a couple more little tidbits. What do you guys do if you have a hangover?
I don't get them.
What? Come on.
I don't get them because I don't drink that much.
Wait.
I'm not a lush like you.
I'm not a lush.
No, really,
Fuck
I don't
you.
ever get them. But really, the real reason that I don't get hangovers is because after 1 or 2 drinks, I get heartburn. So that's it. I stop.
Right.
Because the heartburn is so insane. Like somewhere around in my 30s, that's when I stopped being able to drink. So I usually don't even drink that much. Like we have wine and stuff when we're going to have these calls. But other than that, I really don't drink that much. Like when I'm at business meetings or whatever, I'll have a glass of Prosecco. But other than that, no. So I don't really get hangovers. And I can speak for Nina. All she does is sleep the goddamn next day.
Yeah, I do a lot of sleeping and a lot of whining and a lot of water.
So you never take like Tylenol, which is bad. You never take Tylenol after you've been
No.
drinking. That's really bad for your liver, right? Or some people
I
reach.
try really hard to avoid hangovers because being Native American, I don't produce the enzyme that breaks down alcohol
Right.
like you white heifers do. So, I feel shitty, but for days.
Oh, that's no bueno.
And it's just, there's no high that's worth it. It's just not.
Well,
I'm
I've had
terrible at it.
a hangover or two. Okay, so there's this thing out there that says grab a Sprite. Apparently, there's something in Sprite that will knock out your hangover. Well, that's what I thought. I'm like, really? So what's the deal with that? So I decided to look up the ingredients. It's purified water, high fructose corn syrup, natural lemon and lime flavor, citric acid, sodium citrate, sodium benzoate, and aspartame. So I don't know what that's about, but
Wouldn't it be the
Well, the
vitamin
citric
C?
acid, the citric acid would help with.
I
Yeah,
just,
vitamin
And one of the reasons you feel hungover too, though, is that your blood sugar tanks because alcohol is high in sugar, and once you metabolize that, you've had that insulin spike, and your blood sugar is in the damn toilet.
right.
So,
Or you could be
corn syrup,
dehydrated.
the high fructose corn syrup, and then the dehydration. But trust me, the few times I did have a bad hangover, Sprite did not help.
Oh,
It doesn't help me anyway. I don't know.
so this has been debunked. All right, so here's the last little thing I'm going to throw out there because I found this very interesting, and now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to test this out. So, everyone has a very unique fingerprint, right? Fingerprints, palm prints, footprints, all very unique to the person. Well, your tongue is the same way. Did you know that? I knew this would get you going.
Nina did know that. And I'm not going to lie, I pretty much suspected that as well.
Nina can't
It's
even
a
talk.
lesbian joke, everybody.
Wiggling in her ball right
We're
now.
after
Yeah, like interesting, right?
It's like its own finger.
You are the same.
Two are the same. And how would you get a tongue print?
Wait, what?
What do you think? Leave that to the imagination.
Like maybe using one of those fruit roll-up tattoo type inks or something. I don't know. Maybe like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just putting it into something warm, hot, and soft.
And push.
Yeah, like that.
Okay, I think that's a good place to end the show.
I think we should have ended this about, I don't know, before the tongue print.
Food for thought. Food for thought. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. It was a great, fun show. So thanks again for joining us. We totally appreciate you. Please, if you're listening to us on YouTube, give us a like and a share and subscribe. It helps a ton. So thanks again, everyone. And we will see you all back on Friday for F-Bomb. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.